Welcome to PM Movie Recaps. Today's pick is an action and thriller of 1985, Commando. If you're ready, let's enjoy the video. It's early morning in a suburban neighborhood, when a garbage truck is seen driving through the streets, with two garbage men hanging off its sides. Surprised by the garbage men coming early, Lawson, a former commando, hurries out of bed and goes outside with the trash. When he gets to the truck, the two garbage men reveal who they are, Cook and Diaz, a pair of highly trained assassins, who take out their guns and start firing, killing him. Later, Cook is at a car dealership, when a salesman Forrestal, a former military man, tries to sell him a vehicle, but he steals the vehicle, and runs over Forrestal on his way out. At a fishing yard, one of the sailors, a former commando named Bennett, enters his boat, while taking note of Cook and Diaz. As the boat sails off, Cook takes out a remote and detonates a bomb, blowing up the vessel. Elsewhere, former Colonel John Matrix, a retired U.S. commando, goes about his daily routine chopping wood, when his daughter Jenny tries to sneak up on him. When the father and daughter are having breakfast, John hears a helicopter approaching. Major General Franklin Kirby exits the chopper, and tells his men Jackson and Harris, to secure the area. John and Kirby have a meeting, where Kirby informs him, that someone is killing the former commandos that were part of John's unit. Jackson and Harris are left guarding John and his daughter, while Kirby heads off to investigate who's behind the attacks. As the Major General flies off, John senses danger, and grabs his daughter to duck out of the way, as Diaz appears from the bushes, firing his weapon. The assassin kills Harris and instantly injures Jackson. John tells Jenny to hide in her room, before going to get his arsenal from the shed. When he returns to the house, he finds that Jackson is already dead, and Jenny has already been taken. Diaz tells John that his people have Jenny, and John must cooperate with him, if he wants to see his daughter again. But John doesn't agree. He kills Diaz, and immediately starts chasing after his men. He pushes a car off the hillside, and uses its momentum to begin pursuing them. The plan doesn't go well for John, and he ends up getting captured. In a shocking development, Bennett, the man who supposedly died in the boat explosion, reveals himself to John as one of his enemies. Bennett tells John, that all this is payback, for the time John had him thrown out of the commando unit. He then shoots John with a tranquilizer. Later, John wakes up in a room, chained to a table, and surrounded by Bennett's men. He then meets Arias, an exiled Latin American dictator, who wants John to kill the new president of Val Verde, a fictional country, so that he can rise to power again. Arias tells John that if he refuses, he'll torture and kill Jenny. Bennett and his men escort John to the airport, where one of them, Sully, is there to ensure that the commando gets on the plane, and Enriquez is there to fly with John on his trip to Val Verde. Bennett tells John, that if either of his men fail to give him an update, he'll kill Jenny. So John seemingly obeys Bennett's instructions, and boards the plane with Enriquez. Inside, John asks a flight attendant how long the flight will take. She tells him it will take 11 hours, so John quietly kills Enriquez, and covers him with a hat and blanket, to make it seem like he's sleeping. Then he sneaks off the plane as it lifts off, and sets his timer to 11 hours. Sully, who doesn't notice John's escape from the plane, calls Arias, and tells him that the commando is obeying their instructions. John then follows a woman named Cindy to her car, grabs her, and convinces her to follow Sully's car. They follow him to a shopping complex, where John explains his situation to Cindy. She acts like she believes him, but the moment he lets her go, she reports him to a mall security guard, calling him a crazy kidnapper. The security guard calls for backup, and the group of guards quickly confront John. Sully notices Cindy, and when he approaches her, he notices the commando fighting the security guards. He immediately runs to a payphone, but John stops him from making the call to Arias, by ripping the entire phone booth from the wall. The security guards surround John, allowing Sully to escape. But John fights them off, as Sully reaches the elevator. One of the guards is about to shoot John, when Cindy, who's realized her mistake, pushes him down a flight of stairs. The injured guard orders her to stop, but she runs off instantly, becoming a fugitive. John chases Sully into the parking lot, and their foot chase becomes a car chase. Using Cindy's car, he follows Sully onto the road, before stopping for Cindy. Befuddled by everything that's happened, Cindy asks John multiple questions, as he swerves dangerously through traffic in his pursuit of Sully. The vehicles veer off the highway, as Sully starts shooting at John and Cindy, while John tries to ram Sully's car off the road. The chase ends, when Sully's vehicle flips over, and John and Cindy crash into a nearby pole. The commando walks over to Sully, and grabs a motel room key from his pocket. He then dangles the man over the edge of a cliff, as Sully tries to negotiate, by saying he can take John to his meeting with Cook, and Cook knows where Jenny is. But having seen Sully's motel key, John already knows where Sully's meeting Cook, so he drops the dubious man into the chasm. John and Cindy then take Sully's car, and head for the motel. Stepping onto a pier, Arias and Bennett drive Jenny to one of the former dictator's villas, on a private island. They lock the girl in a room and walk off. Speeding through traffic, John shows Cindy a picture of Jenny, and tells her he needs to find his daughter, before Arias and Bennett realize that he didn't go to Val Verde. They arrive at the motel and enter the room. As they search for clues, Cook pulls up and knocks on the door. John turns on the shower, and makes it seem like Cindy was in the room, having a good time with Sully. She answers the door and Cook steps in, assuming she's Sully's date. The commando attacks, and the two men battle for survival. Cook reveals that he's a former Green Beret, but it doesn't make a difference to John. The commando kills him, before going outside to search his car. Cindy finds a fuel receipt, with an address to a private plane hangar. They take Cook's car, and arrive at the hangar, which John recognizes as the place he woke up in, after Bennett shot him with a tranquilizer. John breaks in through the roof, and finds an entire operation of Arias rebel soldiers smuggling weapons. He enters the control room, and takes out one of the rebels, before opening the window for Cindy. They figure out that Jenny is being held on an island, and there's a seaplane in San Pedro they can use to get there. Before going to the plane, John decides they need to go shopping first. They break into a weapons store, and steal everything, from the guns to the explosives, and even a rocket launcher. Cindy takes most of the weapons to the car, but John gets arrested before he can join her. She follows the police vehicle he's in, and uses the rocket launcher to break him out. At the villa, Arias asks Bennett how long before John's plane arrives in Val Verde, and if they should expect any trouble from the commando. Bennett tells him the plane will land in under 2 hours, and John won't do anything to risk his daughter's life. When they get to San Pedro, John and Cindy steal the seaplane, and Cindy flies them towards Arias's island. At the villa, Jenny tries to find a way to escape from the room. Bennett explains that when the commando is done with his mission in Val Verde, he's going to come for Arias. The next morning, John and Cindy arrive at the island, and land the seaplane just outside the island shores. At the same time, the airliner arrives in Val Verde, and the hat covering Enrique's face falls off. John instructs Cindy to radio Major General Kirby, while he rolls towards the shore, and gears up for battle. He makes his way to the villa, and observes Arias's private army. Then he sets a number of explosives throughout the rebel base, before quietly killing a few soldiers. At the airport in Val Verde, Bennett's men wait for John and Enrique's to exit the plane, but they see a body being carried out on a stretcher. They check the corpse and find that it's Enrique's. The men call Arias, and the power-hungry dictator orders Bennett to kill Jenny. As Bennett approaches Jenny's room, John triggers the explosives, and the war begins. Forcing his way in, Bennett finds that Jenny has just escaped, and the treacherous man chases after the little girl. John continues to kill hordes of Arias's troops on his way to the villa. Cindy is finally able to radio for General Kirby, and the general is informed of her message. During the battle, the commando gets his hands on an M60 machine gun, and massacres more of Arias's troops, making it possible for him to enter the villa. Wielding assault rifle, Arias joins the action, before getting gunned down by John. With murderous intent, Bennett follows Jenny into the basement, but John catches up to them, and taunts Bennett into a knife fight. It's a hard struggle, but John ultimately conquers his foe. Rescuing his daughter, John meets with General Kirby on the beach, and when the general offers him his old job as a commando, John looks at the beautiful Cindy and his loving daughter, and realizes he's done being a killer. Thank you for watching, but before leaving, please make sure that you click subscribe and turn on the notification so that you can enjoy watching more videos like this.